Look, stop what you're doing and tell me. Is your life feeling unraveled right now? You're smart. You have big goals. But at 1 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling, surrounded by several open browser tabs, each one a broken promise. You feel that heavy, silent guilt, whispering, "How did I fall this far behind?" The problem isn't a lack of motivation. It's that you're paralyzed by the size of the repair job. You're waiting for a surge of willpower that never arrives. And here's the painful truth. We've been lied to. We think we need the dramatic 5 a.m. start, the 10-page master plan, the all-or-nothing transformation. But trying to build a perfect life in one go is exactly why you crash and burn every single week. You skip one thing, and the guilt spirals. You tell yourself, "I'll start fresh on Monday." But Monday never gets easier. The demands only shift. The overwhelmed, tired version of you keeps winning the day. Your life isn't crashing. It's slowly, silently drifting off course. But what if the thing that saves you isn't a massive breakthrough? What if it's the one tiny habit you've been ignoring because it felt too small? I'm talking about the minimum viable habit. The action so ridiculously small, you can execute it even on your absolute worst day. Not the 2-hour workout, the 1 minute of stretching, not the finished project, but the 5-minute timer just to start moving. This tiny action is your lifeline. It's the faithful, humble thread that will stitch your life back together. Stop chasing the after photo and start winning the daily photo. Do not click away. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you the exact framework, the 10-minute thread, that reestablishes your focus and rebuilds trust in yourself, one tiny promise at a time. Let's build a foundation that even burnout can't shake. 1. We don't crash, we drift. Here's the thing we never admit. Most people don't go off track in one spectacular, catastrophic failure. They drift. It's slow. It's silent. It's like you skip one gym session, which becomes 2, and suddenly you've got a membership you only use for guilt. It's one late bedtime that turns into weeks of brain fog and anxiety. We are masters of self-deception in these moments. We tell ourselves the comforting lies. I'll restart fresh on Monday. I just need a surge of motivation. I'll fix everything when the kids are older, or when my job calms down, or when the stars align. But let's be real. Life does not get calmer. The demands only shift. And motivation? She's a fickle friend. She rarely arrives on schedule. So what do? We wait. We stall. And the tired, overwhelmed version of you wins another day. 2. The myth versus the anchor. The myth. You need an earth-shattering moment, a massive surge of willpower, a perfectly structured life plan, and a 5 a.m. start to rebuild your entire existence. The truth. Your life is rebuilt by one tiny, ridiculously small habit that you can execute even on your absolute worst day. I'm not talking about the heroic habit, not the 2-hour workout, not the 10-page essay. I'm talking about the minimum viable habit. The action so small that your excuses look like spoiled children whining next to it. It's the single page you read instead of the whole book you promised. It's the 5-minute counterwipe instead of the deep clean Sunday you never start. It's the one short paragraph of gratitude journaling instead of the perfect 45-minute morning routine. This isn't laziness. This is the architecture of real, sustainable change. You're not fighting a war against yourself. You're building a staircase out of the trench. 3. The 5-minute test. Let me give you a classic scene. Maybe it's your scene. You're a professional. You're buried in emails. Projects are stalled. You're exhausted. You sit down at 8:45 p.m. to finally get ahead, but the anxiety is a physical weight on your chest. You open the document, and your brain immediately screams, "Too much!" and pulls you toward the path of least resistance. Netflix, social media, anything but the work. In that moment, you don't need an 8-hour strategy session. You need one simple tool, a 5-minute timer. And just start moving. 5 minutes. That's it. No heroics, no perfection, no outcome necessary. Just movement. And I promise you, something strange and powerful happens. When you commit to that 5 minutes, not to finishing the whole project, but just to starting, the clarity returns. The guilt loosens its grip. Momentum, quiet but fiercely loyal, arrives like an old friend you didn't think would show up. You finish the 5 minutes, and maybe you stop. That's fine. You kept the promise. But chances are, you go for 10, then 20, and so on. The next day, you repeat the promise. And after a week, you're no longer paralyzed. You're flowing again. Not because of willpower, but because of a tiny, repeatable habit that only asked for your presence, not your perfection. 4. Consistency over transformation. The real problem is this: we are addicted to transformation. We chase the after photo, the six-pack, the promotion, the finished novel, and we absolutely despise the daily photo. The solution is to stop romanticizing the outcome and start romanticizing the simple process. Your assignment is to pick one micro-habit that is embarrassingly simple. Something you can finish before your negotiating brain even has time to make an objection. 10 push-ups, or 15 seconds plunk. 1 minute of stretching before you sit down for the day. One task, even the tiny ones, from your to-do list. 1 minute of planning the next day's top priority. Tiny habits don't change your life instantly. They change your identity quietly. Because every time you keep one small promise to yourself, when you do the thing you said you were going to do, your mind whispers to your soul, "Maybe I can trust you again." And that trust, my friends, is more potent than any burst of motivation. That trust is your fuel. 5. The humble foundation. Before, your day controls you. You wake up in a reactive panic. You carry the heavy guilt of the undone. You live in the perpetual fog of almost. After, you control one small, sacred corner of your day. You become the kind of person who shows up, even imperfectly. You build a momentum that survives bad weeks, busy seasons, heartache, and burnout. Tiny habits are the most humble foundations. They don't demand to know who you were yesterday. They only ask, who are you willing to be for the next 5 minutes? 6. The gentle inquiry and the final promise. Let's pause here, just for a moment, and look at each other. You see, the truth isn't just about doing more. The real transformation happens when you change the story you tell yourself about yourself. Right now, if you're stuck, you probably see yourself as the person who quits, the person who falls behind, the person who struggles with follow-through. You are not that person. You are someone who has been waiting for the wrong kind of motivation, the big, dazzling kind that rarely shows up. I want you to make a final, gentle promise to the person you are right now. Stop waiting for the feeling of motivation to arrive before you act. That's like sitting on the train tracks waiting for the engine to push you. You are the engine. Your action, no matter how small, creates the steam. Remember this: perfection is the enemy of progress. Your messy, tired, 5-minute effort is infinitely more valuable than the perfect 3-hour plan you never start. It's the difference between staying a spectator and becoming a participant in your own life. This journey back to control is not about speed, it's about stewardship. It's about taking care of the small corner of your day that belongs only to you. One day, you will look back on this season of your life. You'll be standing exactly where you want to be, healthier, sharper, more present. And you will realize the turning point wasn't some grand gesture. It wasn't the big plan. It wasn't the big dream. It was the night you were tired, you were guilty, you were stuck, and you whispered, "I'll just start with 5 minutes." The choice is now. The time for analysis is over. The time for waiting is done. If you're ready to finally rebuild, to trust yourself again, here is your one non-negotiable mission. Look around you. Pick one tiny action you can start in the next 5 minutes. Is it clearing one mug from the desk? Writing one sentence? Putting on your shoes? Do it. Right now. No matter how small. Start small, stay gentle, and begin tonight. Your momentum begins with your next breath.